Hello students, welcome to class 12 English lessons. Today I would like to brief you about the syllabus of English for the first term as well as quick revision of all the chapters. Your syllabus is writing skill. You have noticed from Flamingo you have two poems. First one is an elementary school classroom in Islam. Second one is keeping quiet. Prose you have two from the Flamingo book, Lost Spring as well as Deep Water. And from the Vistas you have only one chapter, the first one, that is the third level. This is all about the syllabus of the coming term 1 exam. Paper will be of 50 marks. I hope the syllabus is very clear. Now let's proceed to the quick revision of step by step. Let's take the first one, an elementary school classroom in Islam. Here the poet Stephen Spender shows the appearance of the students, right, which shows that they are unwelcome, unwanted. The kids are having depressed facial expressions, very sad, pathetic. They have unhealthy bodies, which is inherited from their parents. At the end of the classroom, a small child is sitting, having bright eyes that fill with dreams. Other than this, also many students are, the poet has described, right, in the first stanza of the poem, just to go through it. The classroom has dirty and muddy walls. Shabby atmosphere, we can say, dull atmosphere. Many people have given multiple charts and images for putting on the walls. A poster is there of Shakespeare. His head is bald and looks like the rising sun. The second poster is of Tireless Valley. Further, another one is a world map. Now, for these students, the world is not as they see in the picture, right? Whatever they see in the picture, that is far, far from their reach. For these students, the world is the scene that they see outside of the classroom through the window, which is dull and shabby. These students are stuck in the slums. They have dim and hopeless futures. They all have a dark and depressing future. Moreover, they have options in life that are imperfect and are disappointing. They are distant from the light of knowledge. That's why poet towards the end of the chapter urging the people in power to give them opportunity for education. Second is keeping quiet. This summary discusses peace, humanity and brotherhood, right, togetherness. This poem is by the poet Pablo Neruda. The poem is explosive as well as quiet at the same time. Neruda speaks of a world of wisdom in a calm fashion. Neruda believes that staunch activism is not the best way to get into the heart and minds of the people. Consequently, the author speaks with much serenity. Furthermore, this serenity creates an aftermath of thought ripples in the minds of the reader. The poet wants the readers to take time out of their busy lives, busy schedule, for retrospection and introspection. The poem is symbolic of stopping all activities and understanding the purpose of the world. Keeping quiet appeals to the heart of the readers in contrast to the intellect. Through this poem, Neruda aims to get his readers thinking and pondering as opposed to intellectual stimulation. So this is all about introspection, meditation, right? Looking within oneself and just pondering over all the activities we are involved in and the consequences of the same so that we can bring something good. Next is the prose Lost Spring. Introduction to the Lost Spring summary is: the lost spring means lost childhood. Deals with the deplorable condition of poor children who get forced to miss the simple, joyful moments of childhood because of their socio-economic conditions. These children are not given the opportunity of schooling and are compelled to start working early in life. That is what we know as child labor. The author Anis Jung strives hard to eliminate child labor through her book. She propagates the education of children and enforcement of strict laws against child labor by the government. The message is to put an end to the child exploitation and let all children enjoy their days of the spring and joy. This chapter consists of two parts. One is Saheb-e-Alam, a rag picker story. Another one is Mukesh, son of a bangle maker. So both the children are suffering from that is, they are exploited, right, as child labor. So let's see the first part. Sometimes I find a rupee in the garbage. The first part talks about the writer's impressions about the life of the unfortunate rag pickers. The rag pickers migrate from Dhaka and find a settlement in Simapuri. We know Simapuri is at the periphery of Delhi, which is miles away from it. That is metaphor, okay? Metaphorically, it miles away from Delhi. This is metro city. They end up losing their fields and homes due to storms. They then come to the big city to find a living, but they are poor. The author then watches Sahib, the rag picker, every morning, who is always scrounging for gold. Which poetic device, literary device, sorry, hyperbole. Exaggerating, right? Scrounging for gold in her neighborhood. Garbage is actually the means of survival for the elders, and it is something wrapped in wonder for the children. Sometimes the children find a coin or two from it. Even these kids have desires and ambitions, but they have no clue about how to achieve them. There are many things that are unreachable to them. For example, shoes, tennis, and similar stuff, as well as we can say education, good environment, right? Nutritious food. Later on, Sahib starts working at a tea stall where he earns 800 rupees and also gets to eat all the meals. But the job takes away his freedom. So, carefree look he lost. He was very happy with the rag picking because there he was free, right, to roam around as and when he wants. But here he was as a working in a tea stall that seems very heavy. So tea canister seems heavier than the rag picking bag. Second part deals with I want to drive a car. This is the story of Mukesh who wants to become a motor mechanic. The second part is about the life of Mukesh, who comes from the family of bangle makers. Firozabad is quite popular for its glass blowing industry. A staggering 20,000 children are a part of this business, and any law that forbids child labor is brutally ignored here. All 20,000 children are involved in this bangle making business. Also, the working environment and the living conditions are pathetic, very measurable, right? Children live in dingy cells, closed cells, and work around hot furnaces that make them blind when they enter adulthood. Since they are weighed down by debt, they cannot think or find any way to escape this trap. They were enveloped by this trap. The politicians, policemen, middlemen, and bureaucrats obstruct their way of progress. Most women in such families think that this is their fate, we can say destiny, and just follow the tradition. But Mukesh is very different from the rest of the folks here. There. He has dreams of becoming a motor mechanic. That's why he says to the author, though garage is very, very far from his house, but he is ready to walk and go there and learn with regard to the motor mechanic. Fine. Let's move to the next chapter, summary of the deep water. Deep water summary will assist you in understanding the meaning of this chapter. Right? It is an extract from the book Men and Mountains by William O. Douglas. Over here, the author tells us about how he overcomes the deep-rooted fear of water. Now, we learn from the chapter that the author was very much scared of water, right, following two very dreadful incidents. One incident occurred when he was only 4 years old. His father took him to the beach of California and waves knocks him down. Similarly, in the second incident occurred when he was 11 years of age. A big boy of 18 years throws him in the deep end of the pool when he was sitting beside the swimming pool, and he was just waiting for other boys to come so that he can join in the swimming. Meanwhile, he was thrown by the big boy of 18 years of age and almost he drowns. Thus, having gone through such scary experiences, he fears water very deeply, but he didn't give up. However, he does work really hard to overcome it. He hired a swimming instructor. He learned swimming step by step, right? Within 6 months he took to learn swimming. Then he practiced himself a lot. Moreover, he accomplishes in overcoming the fear and gives us all a great lesson of what? Determination and willpower. It is true, children, when you have firm determination and willpower, then everything is possible for you. How difficult the task is. So this is a very great lesson that is we learn from the chapter The Deep Water by William O. Douglas. Now the last but not the least, Vista's book, Third Level. Third level refers to the world of imagination, the world of fantasy. Fine. So the third level summary, it is a story about a 31-year-old man named Charlie. Besides, this is a psychological story. We can say it is a psychological story. This chapter is science fiction. That refers to the subway at the Grand Central Railway Station, which takes passengers to Galesburg, Illinois. In addition, this subway becomes the interconnection between the narrator's harsh reality and fantasy. Moreover, the third level was a way of escape for Charlie. Why he want to escape from the modern level, present level we can say? Because life in the modern world is full of uncertainties, worries, stress, anxieties, tensions. That's why it takes Charlie to a different world that his friend also calls, what is it? A walking dream wish fulfillment. Who is his friend? Sam. He was also a psychiatrist. Further, the story is about Charlie's tendency to escape from the world. Most importantly, the third level starts because of Sam's letter written on 18th July 1984. This story shows the connection between time and space. That's why it is a science fiction. Again, Sam's letter written on 18 July 1984 is a figment of imagination for Charlie, which he found in the first day cover, which usually should be empty, right? In the first day cover envelope. So this is all about your, what you can say, the revision, quick revision I have given. So prepare well, children. All the best. God bless you. Bye.